If you are watching this video, first of all, I want to say thank you. And second of all, welcome to the world of Saint. This makeup is hands down the best makeup I have ever used, the most easiest makeup I have ever used, and it has done wonders for my skin. So you're probably looking at your box and being like, okay, I don't really know what to do here. You got a bunch of these little things, but when you see everybody on the internet or social media, their stuff is like this. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your compact. It doesn't matter what size you got, and you're gonna start placing your tins in your compact. So you're just gonna take and pop the little lid off. You're gonna slide it up, just push your thumb up the back. You're gonna take the lid, keep your lids, or a few of them, only because if you interchange things out of your compact, you have something to put back over the makeup. And this is magnetic, this is metal, so you're gonna pop this in here, okay? You're gonna proceed with whatever colors that you got. I just have some random ones laying here, so my palette may look a little funny, but you're gonna pop your tins in. I would suggest with your highlight colors, which are gonna be the ones that look like foundation. You got a camo, a bridge, and a brightener. Most people, I match 3 colors. You got a contour, and you most likely got like a lip and cheek, and then maybe a bronzer or an illuminator. So if you want to place them in whatever order, I would go highlight, darkest, medium to lightest, then maybe your contour, your lip and cheeks, bronzers, however you want to place it. If you got some eyeshadows, the only suggestion I want to give you is to place your powders in a different compartment than your creams, only because we don't want the powders and the creams to mix. So once you build your palette, I want you to get your makeup and your brushes, and we're gonna put on some makeup. Okay, so let's talk brushes really quick. The 2 brushes that are my go-to that I use for almost everything is the detail brush and the blush bronzer brush. Another brush that I use from time to time is the 3D brush. So I hope you got at least 1 brush, and if you are questioned about which brush to use for what, just reach out to me. I'll be glad to let you know. But I'm going to apply my contour with the detail brush and probably do my under eye with the small end. Then I blend everything with the smaller end of the blush bronzer brush, and then I use this to apply my bronzer and to kind of tie everything together. If you got the 3D brush, you can apply your contour with this end or this one, probably this one, along with your foundation, and then you can tap and do your under eye with the pointed end. So you can do everything with this brush as well. Okay, so let's talk contour really quick before we start putting our makeup on. So what contour is gonna do is it's going to give you dimension in your face. So the easiest way for you to remember where your contour goes is going to be almost like in the number 3 or the letter E. Basically, it depends on which side you're going on. So you're gonna contour your forehead below your hairline, you're gonna come under your cheekbones, and then you're gonna come down and chisel out your jawline. What I like to do is to apply my product, and then I like to blend it, and then I leave it. Then I go to my highlights. So I'm gonna go in with the detail brush, and I'm going to apply my contour. I basically just place it, and I'm gonna let it sit, and then come back and blend everything together. So you can see the shape of my contour. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. So basically the shape of my contour. And now that I've placed it, I like to go in and just kind of stipple and soften. And when I say stipple, it just means that you're just tapping and doing like tiny little sweeps, if anything. I don't do swirl motions, and just kind of soften this in the areas. And then once you get your contour placed like this, the blending of your contour is done. I don't go back and blend more. I'm gonna go into my highlight colors, and I'm going to place my highlight colors around it, and this will keep you from over blending your contour, so where your contour is noticeable and you have your dimension in your face. All right, so let's talk highlights. I most likely matched you with 3 highlight colors. One is gonna be your camo, which is kind of like a corrector if needed, a darker color to cover some imperfections, large pores, redness, whatever it may be. Then your bridge color is gonna be what's most likely your foundation color, and then you're gonna have a pop color. Your pop color is anywhere that we wanna add extra brightness to our face. So let's put those highlights on. So I'm gonna go in with my camo color using the small end of the blush bronzer, and I'm going to stipple this darkest color of my highlight colors right through here because this is where I have redness and large pores. I'm gonna apply this on my chin. And then I'm gonna come up here next to my contour and I'm gonna kind of do like a V, upside down V, I guess, coming down my forehead. Now I'm gonna swap to Sandy, which is like my bridge color. I'm going to stipple this underneath that contour. Basically apply this anywhere that I don't have any product already. Now I'm gonna take the small end of my detail brush, I'm gonna dip into Aura, which is my pop color, and I'm just going to place this here. I only brighten on the inner and the outer corner of my eyes, down the center of my nose, and at my Cupid's bow. One little extra step that I personally like to take, which is totally optional, is I like to contour my nose, and I take the edge of that detail brush and I get it right on the like the edge of this brush, and I'm just going to lay the brush and keep these lines really close together. You don't want to contour down the sides of your nose because that actually makes your nose to appear to be wider or bigger than what it is. Like I said, this is totally optional. If you want to skip this step, doesn't matter. All right, so once everything is placed, I'm going to go right back to the blush bronzer brush and I'm going to lightly stipple. And when I say stipple, you're just going to press back and forth. You're going to have a light hand. There's no reason to have anything a heavy hand. And since my contour is already placed and blended, I'm not going to go back over it. I'm literally going to soften where the two colors meet, and you can see that this is going to give me the most seamless blended application method of this makeup. I start with my lightest colors first and just keep stippling and moving this brush. Like I said, I have a light hand. My contour is already applied and blended, so I'm just softening where the two meet. There's no need for me to go back over it. When we go back over our contour, that's how we have a tendency to over blend or to blend it to where you can't see it. I'm gonna come right here and I'm just gonna soften up this nose contour. And then if you have any areas that you may need, like you feel, may need to touch back up, you can always go back and reflect that. Now here on my contour on my neck, I do kind of pull it down just a little bit, but I still have the lightest hand. And this brush right here is going to be your best friend when it comes to blending. Okay, so once you have everything applied and blended, you can always go in with a light hand and just kind of do a little bit of a stippling, sweeping motion very lightly, just to kind of make sure that everything is blended together. Okay, that, my friend, is highlighting and contouring. It is that easy. Like, you can do this. Just always remember to use a light hand and to stipple. Don't do anything heavy-handed, and don't go in and just bear down and swirl and sweep, because that's how you kind of displace the colors and you won't actually see your dimension with your contour versus your brightening and then your highlight shades. So if you have any questions at any point, always know that you can reach out to me and I will help you in any way. Let's keep putting some makeup on. So let's talk blush and bronzer. I keep my bronzers in a separate thing. This is just something that I do. Your bronzer can fit right in your one compact with the rest of your face. This is just something I've done from the get-go. I'm gonna go back with the blush bronzer brush and the fluffy end, and I'm going to stamp. I have a couple of things. I use Bella bronzer. First of all, this is Icon. This is Bella bronzer, which is probably what you got. This is Muse, which is a dark highlight color. That's a dark highlight color, and then that's Tan Lines. I pretty much stay in these three here, but Bella is the main one that I go in. So I'm gonna just stamp this brush in my Bella bronzer. I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna kind of pinch it together, and I'm gonna go on the forehead, and I'm gonna do the same application method. This is going to warm up your skin. I feel that the bronzer just kind of ties it all in for me. Some people are so afraid of bronzers because they've had really bad experiences with like a powder bronzer that's really orange, something that just does not, it makes them look like this fake, weird bronze look. I don't feel that our bronzers do that. So I go and I kind of just keep it in this, because the main focal point, you want this to be light here if possible, and then our dimension here. And then I come in and I'm going to pinch it the same, and I'm going to come down like above that contour, and I'm going to kind of curve it onto my cheekbones, so, or on my cheeks. So anywhere that the sun would hit you naturally is kind of where you're going to bronze. You can come across your nose. Some people like to go across the face. It's totally up to you. But one thing I do recommend with makeup, no matter what your skin tone is, your chest, your neck, and your face is never gonna be the same color. And if we wore our makeup to match our neck, it would be way too light. If we wore our makeup probably to match our chest, like everybody has redness in their chest. Like a lot of women have redness here. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna bring your bronzer down. If you don't have a bronzer, you can take your darkest color that I matched you with, and you can kind of bring it down your neck. This is just gonna tie everything in together so you don't have like this chest with redness and color, because most of the times this is where we're gonna get color from the sun, this really white pasty neck, and then this gorgeous face of makeup, and it doesn't look like all three go. So this just kind of blends everything together. So don't be afraid to pull that makeup down your neck. I always tell people that, and so many people don't, and then their makeup just stops here. So take your bronzer and pull it down your neck to kind of tie everything in. It's just a light layer. Or if you don't have a bronzer, take your your darkest highlight color and kind of give your neck a little bit of color. All right, let's pop some blush on those cheeks. So I like to take my finger and just tap it. Tap it into the lip and cheek color. I prefer the matte or the satin finishes on my cheeks and then the glossy more on my lips, but it's a personal preference. It's totally up to you. So I'm gonna take and just lightly tap. Don't put your blush here, because when you apply it up here, it lifts your face, okay? So I'm gonna take my finger and lightly tap it. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. So I'm going kind of like where that bronzer is. The higher you place your blush, the more it's gonna lift. So you come back with this same brush and you're just gonna lightly stipple. So notice like the stippling is the whole kind of like application method we're doing for everything. This, to me, works best with maturing skin. It just actually works best with all skin. All right, so if you wanna take the fluffy end and just kind of go back in to lightly stipple even more to blend it out, it's up to you. How bold do you want your blush? How subtle do you want your blush? So that's how you do the blush. So let's move on to what we call illuminator. This may or may not be something that you got. It's no big deal, but I just want to show what it is. So we have cream illuminators and we have powder illuminators. I prefer the cream on my face. In the makeup world, some people call this a highlighter, okay? So we call it illuminator. What this does, rose gold and pearl and honey are like my all-time favorites. I like to take my finger and I'm gonna kind of go in like I did my blush. I'm just going to lightly tap, and you can see like what that does. That gives just a little hue of a glow. It's kind of a shimmer, but not a shimmer. A lot of women are kind of spooked by these because they don't want to have like a shimmer, but I like just a little bit, and you can add some on your Cupid's bow. You can, if you don't do an eyeshadow, you can always go in and add some on your brow bone. If you use one of our powder illuminators, like these are them right here, they are very, like they pack a punch, they're bold. I prefer these as eyeshadows, but if you use a powder illuminator, that's fine. Just make sure that you use something like fluffy to kind of actually blend it in a little bit, because when you put it there, it's a lot. But that just gives, like you can see as the light hits my face, especially if you set with a powder and you want to kind of take away this dewy finish that this cream makeup gives, Nothing wrong with setting with a powder. We're going to talk about setting our face in just a second. But if you set with a powder and you prefer more of a matte finish, but you want to bring a little bit of a hue of a glow back, I would highly recommend adding an illuminator. If you set with a powder all over, I would apply your illuminator afterwards. If you don't set with a powder, then you continue as normal. But I'm going to show you about setting this makeup if you choose to. Okay, so we do have a stay spray, okay? It is a setting spray. It is like any other setting spray. You mist it on your face, or you can put it on a beauty sponge and blot it. I personally don't care for any stay spray. Not just ours, like I have like several on my counter here. I don't care for a setting spray. I know some people do. A lot of people like to use that one as a primer, so you could put it on your face before. If you are a oily girl, I do not recommend our setting spray because it's going to give a dewy finish, okay? That's what it's designed to do. There is one that is Charlotte Tilbury. It is an Airbrush Flawless. This is a matte finish. Like I said, if you are a stay spray person, I would go with something more along the lines of that. If you feel like you need a setting spray. I personally use a little bit of IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores translucent powder because I have large pores, okay? That's okay. We have Vanilla Dust. Another one that people use is, it's a Maybelline Fit, I think. If you want to set your makeup with a powder, I highly recommend using the Perfector sponge to do so. And you're gonna run it, so when you get your Perfector sponge, it's gonna be like this size. Then you're gonna run it under water. If you did not get one of these little guys, highly recommend it. It will be your best friend. Run it under water, squeeze it out, and then you're gonna wring it out like in a towel or a washcloth to where it does not hold water. You can just feel that it's damp and it has a little bit of moisture to it. So I like to tap mine, and if you have large pores, I'm gonna recommend the IT Cosmetic Bye Bye Pores. It is the best at concealing large pores. So I go in and I'm tapping it just where I have large pores. So you can see like the difference in this and this. It took away a little bit of my dewy finish, but I still have a dewy glow. And I mainly do this just to help conceal those pores, okay? They're still there, they're just not as noticeable. And then I come here and do the same thing because I have texture here. Now, if you choose to go all over your face, if you're oily, that's fine. If you are oily and you're like scared to death about cream makeup, let me know. I will help you, walk you through some different things. And then I'll do a little on my chin, only because I have some pores and texture there. That's all I do to set my face. So you can see I still have a dewy glow, but I just go in and I just kind of conceal those pores just a little bit. Okay, so you did it, or you're gonna do it. I promise. This makeup is a game changer. And once you play around with it a few times, you're gonna be a pro and you're gonna be rocking and rolling and out the door, and just so grateful that you purchased this makeup because it changed my life and it changed so many other women's lives as well. So let's do a quick recap. So I started with my contour. I placed with my detail brush in the number 3 or the letter E, depending on what side of the face you're on, okay? Then I went in, after it sat, while I applied this side, went back to where I started, and I just stippled. And I just stippled and kind of softened so it wasn't so harsh, and everywhere that my contour was, and I left it, okay? Then I go in with my blush bronzer brush. I went to my camo color. Anywhere that I drew on your picture that you need your camo color, you're gonna just stipple it, okay? Just stipple over those areas which were drawn in red. Then once you place that color, move to the yellow, what was drawn in yellow in the picture. That's your bridge. That is your bridge highlight color, okay? You're going to apply that in the other areas where you don't have anything, and then you're gonna go in with your small end of the detail, your finger, however you wanna apply that pop color, which was in white. Once you have applied everything, you're gonna come to this brush, the blush bronzer brush, and you're gonna stipple where everything is. No swirling, no swiping. Remember to have a light hand, okay? Don't go back to that contour. It is there and it is placed. You're going to soften where the lines meet, okay? That will keep you from over blending your makeup and your contour disappearing. Once you have everything blended, then you're gonna go in, if you chose to get bronzer, and you're just gonna stipple in the areas that I told you. Same thing with your blush. Proceed with eyeshadow, illuminator, lip, however you want to do it. Don't forget to bring that makeup down your neck, okay? If you have any questions at any time, please know that you can reach out to me. However, I am here for you. It is my job to answer questions for you. I will walk you through whatever. If a color seems to not be correct, that's okay. We can swap that. So just know that I'm available. You can come to me with any question. There's no dumb questions. I was not a pro at this when I first started using it. I will tell you that, okay? The first time I put it on, I put way too much. It was cakey, it was greasy. I was like, what the heck, Misty, did you do? So once I played around with it, then I kind of gained the application methods and I kind of worked through it. So reach out to me if you have any questions. Always know that I'm available, and I can't wait to hear from you and see how you're loving your makeup.